Here with Ron, the Blackwatermaster, and we're about to go diving for artifacts and some old bottles. I wanted to give you a glimpse of Ron's house. He's been doing this for over 30 years, and he's been pretty much all over the world diving, but a lot of what you're going to see is just from around this area and the history that's involved in this area. So Ron, give us a little tour of your house.
Alright, this is a general representation of a little bit of everything. I don't specialize in any one type of bottle. Got pottery, ginger beers from Civil War age, all kind of little small medicines, and I find thousands of pipes. This is a small bit of all the pipes we found.
Open that up.
And then one thing I really like is the inkwells.
Cabinets, and I'm just going to open up one drawer here.
Particularly, I like the cobalt blues and light blues.
Here's some of the jugs. Indian arrowheads, spearheads. These are all ginger beer bottles. This is turn of the century.
Their bottles, Charleston sodas, South Carolina dispensaries.
That bottle right there is an onion bottle. Ron's house is like a museum.
Did a shot on the face pipes. That's some of my better pipe bowls, presidential and full stem pipes.
The rivers were trading routes back in the colonial times, and before that there's a lot of Indian sites. There's some spearheads.
Banner stones.
That's a banner stone.
Here's grooved axes.
So Ron, how long you been doing this now?
Diving over 40 years. Really hardcore artifact hunting, 35. And then during the winter we metal detect and dig privies.
Looks like you're getting ready to go to a show.
Yeah, I got one coming up in a couple months. Trying to start putting everything together. That's metal detecting finds on some of the plantations.
Here's a great display of Indian spearheads, arrowheads. It's from a recent dive.
Well, you were with me when I got some of this stuff. There's the small bottle I was talking about. That's the size it usually comes in. That's the one I got.
Macmillan Pharmacy bottles. This is Ron's shop. This is where he actually takes a lot of his finds and gets them ready for display.
That large Indian pot I got.
Right. That's a whole Indian pot. How old do you think that is, Ron?
Somewhere around 1300s, I would guess. It's Mississippi, and it's late in relative speaking for Indian, but it's old enough for me.
Look at all that Indian pottery.
These are different plantations that I hunt. I label them to keep all the artifacts separate. Plantations and battlefields and historical properties.
How'd you get started in this?
Say, as a little kid, I used to pick up arrowheads, and I just always had that get out and look for stuff mentality.
A lot of people don't realize, but in Myrtle Beach, if you go back, the only way that you could get to Myrtle Beach in 1910, 1911 was by horse and carriage. And that's just under under 100 years ago, 99 to be exact.
Those are bottles that have been turned purple.
And it's the magnesium in the bottle that actually makes it turn purple.
And the ones below it are going to be turned purple. I have to send them off to. Those are large liquor bottles. That's a cooling system off of a boat that I found that was sunk up the river.
And this is an accumulation of metal detection,
yeah, it's
right?
metal detecting. Bullets and buttons and pocket watches, just everything.
A lot of this goes back, what, to the turn of the century?
A lot of it goes back Civil War, pre-Civil War even. A lot of the plantations I hunt are quite a bit of 1700 materials on it, right on up through turn of the century stuff.
Here's some old coins. There's a Megalodon shark's tooth. Ron, how many shark teeth do you think you have?
I don't have that many now. Over the years, I've picked up tens of thousands. The last time I went, I got over 600. But I pretty much give them away and sell them to people. There's jewelry. Find quite a bit of that when you're diving.
And Ron has sells some of his bottles and collectibles on eBay under Blackwater
Dive Crazy.
Blackwater Dive Crazy.
I have to keep from being overwhelmed by it.
There's all our gear. It's called Blackwater diving because the tannic acid from the trees makes the water almost black. Visibility is only a foot, even with a 30 or a 60 watt light. We're at our first location, and this used to be where they built whaling boats along the river. The depth here is about 30 to 40 feet. Here's a shot of the gear that we use. What do you think, Ron?
Well, we got here, so let's hope we can find something.
Nothing like a day of diving. We're finishing the second dive. You can see Ron, you can see his bubbles over there. It goes down about 40 feet. Beautiful scenery. You can see how dark the water is. Once you get past 5 feet, you can't see daylight at the top. That's how dark it is. There's Ron's bubbles. What'd you find?
I have to show you, man.
Something good? Ron, what do you got there? That concludes our second dive and our beautiful day of Blackwater diving.